Blog Talk Radio.
You are now online with Andrea, with your host, Andrea Garrison.
Tonight we will be providing the secrets of the bulletproof spirit, how to bounce back from life's hardest hits. And our guest is the author and a true survivor and a dynamic leader in a heart-driven, heart-inspired forgiveness movement that has encouraged millions. Please welcome our guest, Azim Khamisa. Hello there, Azim. How are you?
Fine, thank you, Andrea, and thank you for having me on your show.
It is my pleasure. I have a bad cold tonight, but I have to tell you, when I heard about your story and read your book, I was just, it's really just hard to explain how I felt. I mean, you've actually taken forgiveness to another level. For those who do not know your story, if you would please just give a little bit about your background and then specifically share the heart-wrenching loss that you experienced that served as the base for the work that you are currently doing, which is included in your book, The Secret of the Bulletproof Spirit.
Yes, as you know, the genesis of my beginnings are very tragic. I live in San Diego, California, and I worked as an international investment banker, and 15 years ago, a tragedy changed my life. It was a life-changing event. My son, who was a sophomore student at San Diego State University and worked as a pizza delivery man on Fridays and Saturdays, this was a last delivery on a Saturday night. He worked for a local restaurant, and they delivered in this area. It's a middle-class area. But he was lured to a bogus address by a youth gang. And it's an apartment building. He knocked on many doors, found out nobody had ordered the pizzas. So he came back to his car, put the pizzas in the trunk of his car, climbed into the front seat, and as he was about to leave the scene of the crime, he was accosted by 4 youth gang members. And 3 of them were 14-year-old, and the leader of the gang was an 18-year-old, who handed a 9mm gun to a 14-year-old. And as my son was trying to leave the scene of the crime, he gave the order, "Bust him, Bones." Bones was the 14-year-old gang member's nickname, who essentially fired 1 round, which entered my son's body under the left armpit, came through the open driver's side window. It traveled across the upper part of his chest, and the bullet actually came out of under the right armpit. And unfortunately, as the coroner explained to me, he called it a perfect path. And I told him it was a weird choice of words. And I said, a perfect path. And he said, I don't mean to be insensitive, Mr. Khamisa. We do not see a path of a bullet like this one. Perfect in the sense it destroyed all the vital organs. And my son died, drowning in his own blood a couple of minutes later at the age of 20 over a lousy pizza. So happiness is not a material concept. Happiness is a spiritual concept. And unless you have that relationship, that connection with your bulletproof spirit, happiness is not something that you're going to find by having, homes and cars and toys and money. because at the end of the day, I can tell you, I can go to an elementary school and have 500 kids come and give me a hug. I never got that in my investment banking field.
Wow.
And I know that at the end of the day, that people that are able to find service, because we are here foremostly to serve. We are here to serve, and in the totem pole of humanity, kids come first because they rely on us. And if you can find your purpose, and it's going to be in serving humanity or the planet, and that is really where happiness lives, not in the material greed and avarice. Well, that's what got us into trouble,
right?
Because of the greed and avarice at Wall Street. So.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Dance with an Angel says, evolving into someone that holds kindness and caring above ego.
Yes, brilliant.
Yeah, it's just
Dan is an enlightened human being, so.
Yes. Dance with an Angel, beautiful. She's a beautiful person.
Yes.
And, I wanted to ask you, do you dream of Tariq? Has Tariq ever come to you in your dreams and said anything to you?
And we speak all the time. I live by myself, and I often eat dinner by myself. I put his photograph on the dining room table. I always light a candle and have flowers. And we have a conversation. I mean, I'm very much tuned into him, and I tell him what's going on at the foundation. I mean, I'm sure he knows anyway. I don't think of him as being dead. I think of him as being home. We're eventually all going there. And I believe he very much is doing his work in the spiritual world and helping the Tariq Khamisa Foundation do the work we're doing here. That he's definitely been my inspiration. Even when I speak with the kids, very often I feel him. And I always say, Tariq, okay, we've got to go talk to kids. Are you ready? So I don't have any problems connecting with him. And I can go and ask him a question and hear an answer.
Yeah, Dance with an Angel says, children are Pied Pipers to the high vibe of love.
Say again?
Children are Pied Pipers to the high vibe of love.
Yes, very nice, yes. A good soul. I love to meet Dan one of these days, so you'll have to see if you can connect to somehow on your website the links to the foundation and my website. I don't know if you can do that, but that would be good to do.
Yeah. Well, it's just such a pleasure speaking with you, and you're such a beautiful spirit.
Well, thank you.
A bulletproof spirit can be beautiful.
Yes.
And it is, isn't it?
Absolutely. You can't burn a spirit. You can't kill a spirit. You can't wet it.
Well, you know what I wanted to add.
Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say that just because you can't see it, it doesn't mean it's not the most important faculty.
Yeah.
I mean, you can go to a brain surgeon and say, I've got a problem with the frontal cortex of my brain, and a surgeon can fix that. But you can't go to a soul surgeon and say, fix my soul, because you can't see it. So the thing I teach is that that part of your life is immortal, because the soul never dies. And the way you connect with your soul is through some kind of a spiritual practice. But I know you have a worldwide audience, and I'm going to give my website, which is azimkhamisa.com, which is my name, and my speaking itinerary is on azimkhamisa.com. And the foundation programs are on the foundation website, which is tkf.org. And, we want to welcome any of your listeners to join us.